Hi, it's Dave at Stable Vehicle Contracts. Hope you're doing okay. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at 3 different charging options when charging the standard range single motor Polestar 2 like we've got here today. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to be looking at before we start charging the vehicle is the state of charge on this particular vehicle. Because with an electric vehicle, the state of charge depends on how quickly or how slow it actually will charge. So what I mean by that is the lower the state of charge, i.e. how much battery is left in the vehicle, the quicker the vehicle will actually accept the charge from the charging point, and vice versa. So it's nearly full, the actual state of charge is going to bring in is going to be a lot slower. I hope that makes sense. Now we're going to be looking at the fast charging option. So this is a 7 kilowatt charger we've got here. They come in either 7 kilowatt or 22 kilowatt variants. Now you'll typically find these in supermarkets, leisure centres, and car parks as well, dotted around. Pricing to charge from one of these chargers can either be free, so Pod Point, like the one we've got here, they've got at the moment a partnership with Tesco, and you can actually charge for free within those within certain Tesco supermarkets, which is great. And the charge, if you're going to have to pay for it, you're looking at somewhere between 22 to 33 pence per kilowatt at the moment. Obviously prices will fluctuate over time, but it's great you can actually get these for free. So a lot of people take advantage of that, only if you're shopping at Tesco. Don't just park up and bugger off. Let's get this one plugged in and see what sort of charge we get from it. Okay, so nice and easy, goes in there straight away. I always try and just make sure the cable's not sort of tangled up. Might be a bit of OCD on my part. And then simply plug it in. So the amber light there, just I say it's initiating, and then that should go a lovely bright green in a second or two. There we go. So that worked out quite nicely. So let's jump in the car and see what input we're getting. We can tell the car's charging now because we've got this green ring that's lighting up on the centre of the dash here. So let's run through what the car's telling us. So first of all, the time here, 1:42 is when the vehicle's going to be fully charged. That's what it's telling us. The battery level, so it's currently at 53% state of charge, and we've got the limit set to 100%. So over here, you can adjust the the charge limit, so we could take it down to 80%, 70%, whatever we want it to be. We're going to set this at 100. The reason you can do that is if it was your vehicle and you plan on keeping it for a long time, you're probably going to want to change the charge limit to say, well, Polestar is saying 90%, but most people say 80% is the sort of max charge for like daily use to preserve the battery life of the vehicle for as long as possible. But we're going to charge it up to 100%. The range here, it's telling us it's 121 miles of range in the vehicle. This goes up in 10-mile increments. And then right down here, this is the important bit, so charging info. The main thing you want to look at is really how many miles per hour is going into the vehicle. So this is, like I said, it's a 7 kilowatt hour charger, and it's giving us 25 miles per hour, which is probably the max it's going to get. It might creep up to 26 to 28, but you realistically it's going to sit around that 25 mile an hour range. So how long does it take to charge on one of these charging points? Well, a 7 kilowatt hour charger, on average you're looking at charging from 0 to 100% in around 4 to 6 hours, depending on the EV, of course. But don't forget, most of these 7 kilowatt hour chargers, they're going to be at your home or your workplace. So that time of how long it takes to charge isn't necessarily a big issue, because if it's at home, like mine is, I plug it in at night when I get home, 7:30ish of an evening, I don't then need the car for a significant journey until the next morning. So it's actually got a good 12 hours or so to charge. So that 4 to 6 hours is absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. So next up is slow charging. So this is typically your household 3-pin plug. Now I wouldn't personally recommend this as your go-to everyday charging method, just as a once in a while sort of get you out of a bit of an emergency situation. Having said that, I know that some people do it. It's up to you, but it's not something I would recommend. And what I would definitely say don't do is do not use the extension cable. That is a surefire way to get a house fire started. So let's plug this in and see what sort of charge we get from it. Not a lot is my guess. So we've got the amber light on there, just telling us again that it's initializing and it's getting ready for charge, and hopefully we're going to get a green like that. So let's jump in and see what we've got. Right, we've got the green ring again, telling us the car is charging, which is good. That's not good. It's telling us it's going to be completed at 5 or 6 minutes past 11 tonight. It's currently 10 o'clock. So that's the sort of charging time you're expecting. We're at 53% state of charge, and again we've still got the 120 miles, and it's actually dropping off between 0 miles per hour and 1 miles per hour, as you see there. So this isn't really working for us. As I said, I've done it myself a few times when I've been remote places where all there is a 3-pin, and it has got me out of a spot. But it's not something I would recommend as an everyday charging solution. We're up to 3 miles an hour there. I don't know if you can zoom in on that one, Tim. And that's pretty much as good as you're going to get out of a 3-pin, I'm afraid. So yeah, let's move on to another solution, shall we? Because this one ain't working. Next up is rapid chargers. Like these two here from InstaVolt. You typically find these in locations like this, so petrol stations, service stations, anywhere in the sort of main town centres and on motorways basically. Charging on these, you're going to get starting at 50 kilowatt, all the way up now to I believe 150 kilowatt tends to be the maximum at the moment, but that's just going to increase as the technology gets better. Cost wise, you're looking at anywhere between 35 to sort of 60 pence per kilowatt for a rapid charger. So it is quite expensive. It's not something you're going to want to do as your everyday charging solution, just to get you out of a bit of a tight spot if you're on a long journey somewhere. Now, here is the problem with EV charging infrastructure at the moment. We're in central Liverpool, so you'd guess the infrastructure is pretty good for a built-up city such as Liverpool. However, we've been to 4 rapid chargers and we can't get on anywhere. They're either out of commission or they're in use. So we actually can't give you a proper rapid charger test for the Polestar 2, which is going back today. So this is our last opportunity, because we simply can't get on anywhere. And that is one of the main pain points of EVs, is the infrastructure. So when people say that you've got range anxiety, you haven't got range anxiety, you're not going to get range anxiety, you're going to get infrastructure and charger anxiety like we've got here. So we're going back to the office because it's sleeting, we can't charge anywhere, and we're a bit off. So that's the end of the video. What a disaster. Let's go home, Tim. Right, again, we've got the green light flashing here telling us the car is charging.